Hi, my name is Ash, and I believe that the brave act of creation is where hope for humanity breathes itself into existence. I have always been madly in love with the experience of making something out of nothing. It's this grand trust fall with the universe. And as a human, choosing to create my thoughts, my relationships, the material things in my life that I want, when I choose to intentionally create each and every one of those things, I am guided on an ecstatic journey through my own humanness. And I have to face my human frailty, all my resistances, all of my fears, all of the things inside of me that want to shrink or constrict or play small. And I'm forced to examine them. And in this process, I've honed my own uniqueness. And then beyond that, I realized that moving through my own uniqueness, even all the parts inside of me that I feel are inconvenient, that when I move past those, through those, somehow with the loving force of creation, I am then guided to the fringes of my own perception of humanity. And in those perceptions, I feel so deeply the interconnectedness that we all share. I experience I am me, but me is we. How joyful, how beautiful. And I'm just experiencing that from this place of being. I'm just being. I have nothing, and I'm just being, and I have everything that I need, and I have every piece of magic come to my awareness, and I feel restored. This is how I feel about the creative process. It's a deeply spiritual experience. It's a deeply human experience. And so if you want to experience healing, faith, your own humanness, your own uniqueness, a purpose, and how you are connected to and in service to yourself and all of humanity, then keep listening. Because that's what I'm going to talk about, and not just talk about it, because I think talk is really cheap, quite honestly. I want to provide some really awesome practical ways that we can access this brave choice of creativity within ourselves. How we can embrace freedom of our own expression while we have freedom from perfection, relentless perfectionism. And how we can practice connectivity to ourselves, and ourselves as the portal to our deep well of magic that co-creates with the force of creation. I'm going to talk about it all because the power of creation touches everything, baby. It does. There's nothing it doesn't influence. And the force of creation is why we're here. Because at the very core of it, it's the gateway to hope. It's where we surrender ourselves to belief that something could come from nothing, and where miraculously we experience that that's true, and our faith is restored, our hope is restored every single time that we are able to make that choice. This here is my space to remind anyone here listening to the sound of my voice that you are a creator being. You are a creator here to co-create with creation. It's one of the most ecstatic things you could experience. It's a joy and it's a privilege. And how we practice the freedom to move through our humanness to the greater expansive potential of creation is one of the most vital experiences that we can have in this human body. When we understand that our own uniqueness is the portal to wield and co-create with this power of creation, we change ourselves. We change the world. It's not corny, it's not trivial, and it's incredibly deep. And it's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. And so I want to remind everyone here that your life is a work of heart. You are a masterpiece in progress. And yeah, that sounds catchy and all of that, but I really mean it. I'm really sincere when I say that knowing yourself and allowing your own humanness is truly the key to unlocking the greatest potential that you could ever experience. Whew. Okay, we did the introduction, guys. It's under our belts. And moving on with some more poetry before we get to the really practical stuff, I wrote you a song. It's a love song, really, about how I feel my deep, unabiding love for the power of creation and each and every one of us being creator beings. So here goes. It's a glorious day in the universe. Let's all create. Let's all create. Our hearts and our heads will celebrate, 'cause you're divine. Yes, you're divine. Come exactly as you are, no need to fuss, stay curious. You're here to remember just who you are. You're a masterpiece, just wait and see. You know you're a painter of divine design. You're a legacy, just wait and see. And of all the things in the world you could be, the best of all is free. A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Na 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 doop na deep dap doop da bow bow skill up a doop dap doop da bow heap it up doop dap doop da bow bow doop da doop da doop da bow bow skill up a doop dap party 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 yeah! It's my podcast, I can do what I want to. It's my party, I can do what I want to. I can be free to be me, yeah. Let's get human, human, baby, human, human, baby, yeah. Oh, you guys, I hope you enjoyed my little song and little breakdown, because being a free-form total buffoon is what is required in this creative process, and the most glorious byproduct of the brave choice of choosing to just make a choice is freedom. Freedom, y'all. It's what we're all here to experience on this planet. It's the greatest. We're not meant to fit into a little box. We're meant to just feel into all the different flavors and colors and variations and personalities of who we are inside, and allow ourselves to explore them without this fear, because that's the antithesis of freedom. Freedom is the antithesis of fear and being afraid of being disappointed somehow. You, in all of your uniqueness, is meant to be here. Even the parts inside of you that you think are inconvenient, right? We all do this. We live in a society where the bedrock of our worthiness is based upon our productivity and how successful we are and how we do things in a certain manner and how we look and what we say and all the choices that we make and the goals that we have. And I'm going to tell you what, you're none of that. You're none of that. They're just boxes to identify with. You are something far, far effing greater. And that's really what I'm here to remind you about. I'm here reminding myself about that. Come on. I mean, to experience freedom of your own expression and really intentional expression and authentic expression is one of the most freeing experiences on the planet. And it costs you nothing, just having to move through your own humanness, having to really take a deep dive and a deep look at your own conditioning, the one that you got from your family and from society and from yourself, as well as all the pieces and parts inside that want to resist, want to contract, want to play small, want to criticize others, want to blame others, want to put other people in boxes. All of these things, which creates this ugly, ugly sense of separateness and a total lack of actual compassion, right? And I know so many of us, I've talked to so many people and seen so many other people who are really, really understanding this on a deeply personal level. I know I have. I've been on a journey the past 10 years, and I am so grateful. It's been so unbelievably difficult, and I've had to wear many hats, and I've had to experience what it means to subjugate my power and play small and go through a lot of shitty shit. But I'll tell you what, I've gone through it as consciously as possible. And I am being called deeply into my heart to start to share about these things and really be honest about the experiences that I'm having with them. The experiences that I'm having in my body, the experiences that I'm having spiritually, the experiences that I'm having in relation to the other people around me. It's incredible. And it's something that we all completely deserve to experience, but it's a choice to experience it. It's a choice to lean in to belief that we're going to be carried and that we're going to be okay despite our fears, despite our own limitations that we create for ourselves. Which is why I want to remind you here today that you are star stuff. That's right. And the more that we honor us being star stuff, the greater our potential is to experience individual freedom, creative freedom, and that gorgeous expansion of our own evolution, of our own self out into the world. Let me digress. Let me talk about that quote from Carl Sagan. I wrote it down here so I wouldn't F it up. The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself. Just gorgeous. Just a gorgeous quote, Carl. Thank you so much for that. And it's true. Each and every one of us is an aspect of the universe. Each of us has a light within us that's unique, that lights its own part of the universe. But it takes all the stars in the universe to light the universe, right? So not only are you unique, but everyone else is unique. And that's the reflexive property that happens too when you go into your own creative process and you see all your frailties as a human and you have to move through all the things that are blocking you from really revealing that light within yourself and remembering that you're here to share your joy and that you're here to share your perspective, because what you're just trying to do is connect with other stars so that this world doesn't seem as lonely, so that this world has greater purpose and greater hope. Each star in the universe takes up its own space and lights up its own space, and there's still plenty of room in the entire universe for all the other stars, and not one star is less important than another star, and each of us has a story, each of us has a struggle, each of us has our own way that we have navigated through this human experience. And so I am here to help remind myself and others how vitally important that is for us to really come to terms with within ourselves. And then when we feel ready to, when it feels right and appropriate, to then share it in a way that's intentional, because it creates purpose for ourselves. It creates connectedness, because being a star that just shines its own light in the universe is pretty damn boring. What's exciting is when we experience the light of ourselves connecting with the light of somebody else and co-creating. And how do we get here, though? Like, how do we know that we have a light inside of us? Well, let's start from our own creation. Let's start from how we're born. Okay, let's try and wrap our pea brains around this. We are literally the stuff that comes from the belly of a star. Our own light, our spirit, our soul is beamed down into here through the force of creation into somebody else's body, because they co-created through sex to bring creation to this planet. Okay? Let's just start with that. How amazing is that? And when we get into somebody else's body, the divine design and wisdom of their body then creates, through some miraculous process, our own bodies that houses our own spirit and soul. And so we have to really honor this body that we're in. And this body is the vehicle with which we have this human experience. It's the thing that connects us. The electrical circuitry in our body connects us to our human experience and our uniqueness, as well as this greater connectedness to all things. I mean, what a miracle that is in and of itself. Just the fact that we should be reminded that just being born into this world is a miracle. And it may seem that we're separate. That's true. We experience our own separateness, our own individuality. But we're here to remember and offer to others that we are all from the same universe. We are all just coming from the stars. We are all just lights that are here to light the way for ourselves and others. And how do we do that? I know this is kind of sounding all airy-fairy right now, and I've been in the world of education, and I love simplicity, and I love grounding things in very practical terms. So that's where I'm headed, okay, folks? For example, our emotions, our energy in motion. And our body is full of these electrical impulses. It's what's firing in our brain, allowing us to have thoughts. And on a very cellular level, we experience this world and the force in this world. And when you become attuned to your own body, this is somatic talk here. This is energy talk here. This is fundamental feeling the feelings talk here. If you choose to start observing and then listening and then following what it is that your body is telling you, developing your intuition, what we experience is something so deeply human. It's healing, And we also experience the joy of our own uniqueness, the joy of miracles, because that's what happens when you allow yourself to be in a place of true awareness and true listening. And people say, follow your heart, but what does that mean? Following your heart is a practice. Listening to your body is a practice. Honing your ability to be aware is a practice. They're all learned skills, and they're not things that our society really teaches. Practice. It helps us get to a greater depth of freedom of expression and freedom from perfection. And how do we create that connection to ourselves and to the world around us? Because if we don't have a connection to ourselves, it's very difficult to really have connection outside of ourselves. True, deep, meaningful, authentic connection. This has been my deep physical experience. I have had over 20,000 hours now at this point of doing self-healing work and awareness training meditation. And I've taught it to many, many age groups. And my whole bag was developing children's programs for 8 years. And I was also working with adults. But that has been one phase of my life. And now I'm here. I've been guided to be here and to really just speak from my own authenticity and not, again, be stuck in a box of education or a box of spirituality or a box of mental health, because the power of creation touches all aspects of our life. So this podcast is going to go into really social issues, political issues, spiritual issues. I mean, our own human experience, my human experience as being a woman in this time, in this place, all of these things. And I'm really, really, really honored to finally be in this place where I feel like I can share from a place of wisdom, because I've gone through so many of the peaks and valleys, and I know I have so much more to go, because that's also this incredible aspect of creating. There's always expansion that can happen. There's always another glass ceiling to break. And to some people that sounds exhausting. And to me that sounds exhilarating, because I can't even imagine just staying comfortable and staying put and not having a full human experience. Because when you choose to really investigate yourself, to learn to develop awareness, to learn to observe your thoughts, your feelings, your body, the emotions, the energy in motion inside your body, you are going to come into an entire universe within yourself to explore. And I find it fascinating. I think there's nothing greater to explore. And when I was working with kids, I used to say that I'm an inner space adventurer, explorer, and educator. And I'm still that. Really, that's still like a role and an identity that is a part of me. But it is just one aspect of me. As you see, the music and the goofballness is another aspect of me. And I'm going to keep bringing all my colors and my flavors to the tables, because it makes it interesting, because this is play. Creation is play, guys. Life is a play. It's not a serious. It's serious play, right? And we're here to have a full human experience. And if you feel like you're limiting yourself in any way, well, then let's continue talking here, because I want to continue to unpack this. I could keep talking, and like I said, talk is cheap, and I'm going to get to some really practical ways in which we can start practicing how we find these greater depths of freedom of expression, how we find this freedom from this relentless perfectionism that is all around us, and how we connect to ourselves and connect more deeply in relationship to the world around us. I don't think it's a privilege. I think it's a necessity. Because there have been many people that are like, oh, people are just trying to survive, and all of this kind of talk is just a privilege, and la 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 la. And I really don't agree with that. I really don't. I think, yes, we all have to have a fundamental sense of safety in our lives, But at the very core, when you're talking about the force of creation, you're talking about something from nothing. And that's what faith is. That's what belief is. And so no matter what is happening for you in your life, you have the power to observe yourself, to observe your feelings, to move through things and your own limiting beliefs. You have the power to use your voice. You have the power to connect to the divine. This is something that's available to us every single moment of our lives. And it's not something that we are taught to harness, to hone, to interact with. And it's doing humanity a tremendous disservice if we do not make this a priority in how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to others. I'll get off my soapbox here in a second. I like to have this little saying. I say, practice plus patience plus persistence plus freedom from perfection equals progress. And when we're in progress, we're in process. And when we're in process, we're really living. Because we're not being focused on some ridiculous result. We're just trying to break ourselves free. This is why the creative pursuit of anything, of the environment that you have around you, the relationships that you have around you, the art that you create, the creative pursuit is going to invite you to come into contact with greater sensibilities of your own spirituality, of your mental health, of societal conditioning, of politics, of why you believe the things that you believe. We are here to question. We are here to experience. We do have free will, and it's a sacred, sacred responsibility for us to honor it. And when you really allow yourself to experience expansion, you allow yourself to change your mind, you allow yourself to not let limiting thoughts trap you into being small, you gain momentum. Momentum for creation, not just for yourself, but in the entire universe, because we're all connected, right? When I really frame it in that way, I think, God, what in the heck else is there that's more important than that? Than liberating yourself so that you can then really liberate others directly and indirectly. Because you, just being you, is enough to take up space for others to see you and hear you. And it's our own limiting beliefs, thinking that we're not going to be seen and that we're not going to be heard and that we're just going to be judged and condemned, that stops us from really allowing our hearts to be seen. And I say, not today, friends, not today. And when you realize the power that you're wielding inside, the creative force of the divine, of the universe, is within you at every single moment, and you have full access to it should you choose it. That's a miracle. And why wouldn't you want to nurture that? I mean, really, and nurture that in our children and our families and in our society. That's why I'm here, because I truly believe in a future that's better than what we have now. And I know that it starts with me, and I know that it starts with speaking up about what I've learned and what I've experienced. So that being said, I'd really like to guide us today. I'd like to invite you on a little journey with me into the void, into the silence. Because in this place of silence, stillness is where we can connect. It's the portal where belief and restoration and hope and creation all intermingle. I know that sounds like a big deal, and it is. It's simple and profound. It just is. But you don't have to believe me. Let's do a practice together. And let's start with just 10 seconds of stillness. So wherever you are in this time and place, if you're sitting, if you're standing, if you're moving, can you allot 10 seconds for stillness right now with me? Awesome. Thank you. Let's go a little bit further into the void, friends. Let's bring our awareness to this moment. Our awareness is what? It's attention, direct attention, it's focus, it's presence. If you want to close your eyes or open your eyes, that's fine. But just notice, we're going to bring our attention to our bodies. Let's just do that so we can start to connect to the vehicle that we are in that's housing our spirit right now. Go ahead, put your attention on the top of your head and just simply notice, what does it feel like? The sensation of your head outside and inside the inner space of your head. Good. If you notice heaviness, if you notice lightness, if you notice tingles, if you notice nothing, whatever it is, just let it be as it is. And let's guide our attention to our face. Notice your eyebrows and your forehead and your eyes and your nose and your cheeks and your mouth and your tongue. And if you have thoughts that are totally distracting you from doing this right now, that's okay. Just notice that and then gently bring your attention back to your body where we're at right now. Let's move down our body. Let's notice our neck going down our shoulders, past our elbows, all the way to our hands and our fingertips. Let's notice the back part of our body, the base of our head, all the way to our sit bones, the base of our spine, our whole spine along our back, and all the muscles surrounding it. Just notice it right now. Now bring that attention to the front part of your body, that space between your neck and your lower belly. And that whole space in there is really a juicy place for us to feel these emotions. But for right now, just notice, what do you feel in that space, in that inner space? Any sensations, any pains, any tingles, nothingness, whatever it is, just notice. Let it be as it is. Now let's notice the last part of our body moving down. Notice your hips. Notice your bottom, whether you're sitting or you're standing or you're moving again at this point. And you may start to realize that just through the act of putting your attention somewhere, gently, that place starts to soften, it starts to relax. It starts to feel a little more still, a little more quiet. Now let's move down our legs. Let's move past our pelvis now, going down our legs, past our knees, all the way to our feet and our toes. And whether you're sitting, standing, or moving, notice, what does it feel like with your feet, the sensation of it, of them on the ground. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath in, like you're breathing in through your feet, but breathe in through your nose for a count of 5. And then breathe out through your mouth. Good. And just take notice right now of your body. Does it feel any different from the top of your head to the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes? Does it feel any different than when we first started this just a couple minutes ago? Just notice for yourself. This is the power of our awareness. A shift can happen. And this is a learned skill, and the more that we practice it, the better we get at it. It's like a muscle, it develops, and the more power it can wield. This ability to observe, to put our attention on something. And we're not thinking about anything. We're just placing attention, one place at a time. It's that simple to start connecting to your body, which is the vehicle of creation. Now let's go a step further into the void, to this interconnectedness, to this co-creation space. Okay, I want you to now close yourself off from everything else but a bubble around you. Okay, you imagine a bubble around you, and in this bubble is the atmosphere that you've been in, that you are right now, but now you're just in a little piece of it. And right now I want you to imagine that force of creation, which is really love itself, a loving embrace of the cosmos, of the divine, of the universe, of God, however you like to think about it. I want you to imagine that all around you in your bubble right now, as if it's literally the air that is touching your face, that is caressing your skin, and that is penetrating your body deep into your cells. And allow yourself to invite it in. I invite in this loving embrace, this force of creation right now, into my body, into my cells, into my breathing, and breathe it in. Take 2 more breaths and allow yourself to receive it, to mingle with it, to breathe with it. And take a moment, thank your body. Thank your body for receiving. Thank you, loving, embracing force all around me. And I'm going to count back from 10, and you can just scan your body, take a couple breaths, whatever you want to do. But when I count back from 10, we're just going to come back to each other a little bit more and slowly come back out of the void. Okay? But for right now, keep that attention inside. Take some breaths. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just notice how you feel, friends. My dear star stuffs. For me, what I just experienced in my body, I feel a deep sense of warmth. I feel tingles in my body. I feel a sense of lightness and a sense of ease and a sense of softness in my body. I feel a sense of quiet joy. If I had to put words to what I'm experiencing right now. And I hope this for you. I hope that this joy and this hope for your ever-expanding freedom carries you through this process of wanting to move through your own humanness, of wanting to soften to yourself and to your own human experience. Because it's the stuff that's worth living for. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm so grateful that you shared this space with me. Remember that you are a creator being and you have access to yourself, to your own uniqueness. Remember, your life is a work of art. You're just a masterpiece in progress. and you have everything you need within you, around you, and in this now moment. Sending you so much love, Star Stuffs. I'll see you next time on the Creator Being Podcast. Hey, Star Stuffs. If you enjoyed this podcast today, come and find me, friends. Let's hang out in other spaces. I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, and I have a website too. It's ashcreatorbeing.com. There you can find more practices, more information about what it is that I'm here to offer. And if you feel like giving, I feel like receiving. So thank you so much for joining me here today. And I look forward to seeing you again on the next Creator Being Podcast. Lots of love to you, Star Stuffs.